Tonight, haunting CCTV of a mother and baby's final hours before their stabbing deaths.
Queensland's flood emergency spreads, new areas bracing for major inundation.
Plus, a severe round of storms smashes the southeast and south of the border.
Fuel stocks released to lower prices and stop panic buying as a crisis is officially declared.
The aged care giant charging residents $10,000 a year for hot meals and free-to-air TV.
How where you live could help guard against dementia.
And the local sanctuary where you can now visit one of the world's happiest critters.
This is 9 News Queensland with Melissa Downs and Joel Dry.
Good evening. Chilling CCTV has emerged, capturing some of the final moments of a Logan mother and her baby girl, hours before they were found dead.
It comes as the community unites to pay tribute to the local school teacher and her daughter at a candlelight vigil tonight. And a warning, some viewers may find the details of this story distressing.
It's a haunting sight. 38-year-old Kate Patterson holding her 1-year-old baby girl. Their last walk home together Wednesday afternoon, hours before the unimaginable. Kate and little April found stabbed to death inside their Beliva home yesterday morning. April's father, Blake Sears, tonight under police guard in hospital after being struck by a car a few hundred metres away. It's a shocking reality this community is struggling to come to terms with.
They lived on our street, so, you know, it's just right to be here, really.
To lose someone like that in such tragic circumstances is just horrific.
The house remains a crime scene with a heavy police presence. Detectives still trying to piece together the moments that led up to the tragedy, and alongside the police tape, flowers are growing by the bunch on the front lawn.
Right now everyone's obviously in shock and they're reeling.
Locals coming together in grief late this afternoon at a candlelight vigil for the much-loved primary school teacher. Past and present students showing up in support and love. Tributes too for a little girl who never got to grow up.
I'm a bit sad, actually. Yeah, heartbroken for the family.
Around 200 people came out to pay tribute to Kate and April this afternoon, including many kids still in their school uniforms. They came with flowers and lights and toys, and they all stood in silence together. And as you can see, they're all sticking around to talk with one another about this tragedy that's happened. The Mayor telling us today that support will be made available for this community. Now, Joel, 9 News understands that Blake Sears still needs to undergo surgery in hospital, and until that happens, it could be quite some time before he is formally questioned by police.
OK, Ataya, thank you. Queensland's flooding emergency is spreading tonight. Longreach residents warned to prepare to leave their homes with record water levels possible in the coming hours.
Thousands have already endured the worst of it, with the mud army answering the call for help and a woman in her 80s enjoying a rather romantic rescue.
A late-night evacuation in a flood emergency. For most 80-year-olds, likely a moment of high stress. But for this Chinchilla local, a chance to flirt, telling her rescuers last time she was offered a hand, it ended in marriage.
Oh, well, I'm already married, so... And you can't marry two women.
Plenty of help still needed in the west, where floodwaters are still rising.
It's getting very, very deep.
In Barcaldine, boats are at the front door. Longreach next to flood, possible record levels reached by tonight.
At this stage, we've got to take the precaution of preparing for the worst and hope for the best.
For those communities yet to peak, this perhaps a look into the future. In Bundaberg, the streets are a hive of activity. The Mud Army mobilised. Born in the Brisbane floods of 2011, the group of volunteers getting stuck in to help with the clean-up. Why have you decided to come down and get involved, Tim?
Well, I wasn't affected by the flood myself, so it's just my way of helping those sort of unfortunate to be in that position.
I think we've got probably nearly 300 people signed up to volunteer across the city today, tomorrow, over the weekend, whatever it takes.
It's brilliant. It's really good, yeah, really appreciated because, yeah, my husband's got medical issues. He can't do it.
Home after home in this street have piles like this. There's fridges, there's furniture, there's children's toys. There's children's school books. Of course, it's all rubbish now, but only a few days ago, these were people's treasured belongings. It's shattering seeing your belongings
It is shattering,
like this.
yes, because I've had to throw, there's some good stuff there.
Help on the ground and in the air. Jamin and his team have spent the week dropping medicine and essential supplies to residents isolated.
So, getting those supplies, especially when there's no power and things like that, so even getting fuel in to run their generators is a massive relief for them, that's for sure.
Their drones have captured some extraordinary sights. These boats no match for the flooded Burnett. It just really shows the power of this water, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we've been seeing some boats that are in the middle of cane fields and so many pontoons and all sorts of things.
Bundaberg has been battered, but there's signs its residents are already bouncing back. As soon as Fiona Lobagaya could make it back to her flooded home, she put up these flags to remind herself and her community they can't be broken. Puts a smile on your face seeing those there, does it?
It does. It does. It's the spirit that rallied in 2013 was something that I'd never seen before, and it's the same now. It's an amazing town to live in.
In Bundaberg, Jessica Millward, 9 News.
Meanwhile, a search is underway for a man who disappeared off a houseboat in Bundaberg's Swollen Burnett River early this morning. Police say the 51-year-old was on board with friends who saw him enter the river at 1 a.m. Detectives are investigating the circumstances leading up to the incident. Weather expert Luke Bradnam joins us now. Luke, we've had some wild weather in the southeast today.
Certainly have, Melissa. We're still experiencing, in fact, for areas just west of the Sunshine Coast. I'll show you the radar at the moment. A severe thunderstorm warning still in place, predominantly for those areas around the Sunshine Coast and through Wide Bay Burnett. But we've seen a drenching in the western suburbs today. Greenbank, as this system made its way over the top of us, picking up just shy of 100 millimetres. And have a look at these shots from Byron Bay this afternoon. Ballina picking up 100 millimetres and some flash flooding on the streets of Byron Bay. On top of the storms, we've also had strong winds, made for very powerful surf down here on the Gold Coast. In fact, we saw up to 4 beaches closed today. There's a very big swell will hang around for the weekend. I spoke to our acting chief lifeguard, Shane Barry, a short time ago. He expects, guys, we will see more beach closures, particularly here on the Gold Coast again tomorrow. And I'll let you know how the weekend's shaping up. The full forecast coming up shortly.
See you then. Thanks, Luke. A 15-year-old girl and 16-year-old boy have died after their e-bike crashed head-on into a motorbike south of Brisbane overnight. Police say the motorbike rider was attempting to overtake another car when he collided with the pair.
Are looking at all aspects of what led to this tragedy. And this includes dangerous driving behaviours like speeding, fatigue, distraction, wearing proper safety equipment.
It's understood the e-bike lights were not on when the crash occurred. The 52-year-old motorbike rider remains in hospital in a stable condition.
The federal government is tapping into the nation's emergency fuel stockpile to combat soaring prices and panic buying. The precious commodity will first be channelled to where it's needed most, regional areas. The Energy Minister today labelling anyone peddling petrol on the black market as un-Australian.
Chris Bowen is a man under the pump. The Energy Minister says there's no reason for panic buying, but admits there's a crisis.
Which is it? There's a war. I think war ticks the boxes of a crisis.
Until yesterday, it was all tickety-boo, no problems. By yesterday, it was a national crisis. I mean, the bloke's, he's hopeless.
Chris Bowen's latest move to release 20% of the nation's fuel stockpile. That's 760 million litres, or about 5.5 days of fuel consumption.
This will enable the fuel companies to more flexibly manage their supply chain.
Why can't Chris Bowen say to people in regional and rural Australia when the fuel will arrive?
The competition watchdog today demanding a please explain from suppliers on widely varying petrol prices across major cities. Supplies are filtering through to some country towns and proposals for petrol rationing is being rejected for now, but the minister has warned against hoarding.
There are other people filling up jerry cans, Bunnings running out of jerry cans, selling fuel at inflated prices. That is un-Australian.
For such an energy-rich nation like Australia, it seems remarkable we're so reliant on imports. But it's not the only disparity when it comes to our resources. The latest carve-up of the GST showing the mounting cost of a political sweetheart deal with WA, Australia's richest energy state. The no worse off clause allowing WA to pocket more than $9 billion of their $103 billion pool. That's $6.6 billion more than it would otherwise receive, while New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland have copped the biggest cuts to their share. All up, WA's collected $33 billion from the other states since 2018.
The pie is growing larger and yet Queensland's share of it is getting smaller.
When you see differences between the states, it's just harder and harder for me to justify what they're doing.
Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
A statement from Iran's new supreme leader has done little to allay speculation over his condition after he was reportedly injured in strikes. The new Ayatollah declaring the country will not back down, vowing to keep a tight grip on the Strait of Hormuz.
5 days after his appointment, Iran's new supreme leader has still not been seen. Today, only a statement from Mujtaba Khamenei fueling speculation on his health after reports he's injured. In a lengthy speech delivered by a newsreader on state TV, the Ayatollah vowed to continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz and avenge the blood of Iranians killed in the war. The Israeli Prime Minister in person. Mujtaba Khamenei cannot show his face in public, he says. What will become of his fate? If I were an insurance agent, I wouldn't issue life policies. Benjamin Netanyahu urging Iranians to seize freedom. In the end, it depends on you. It is in your hands. Street after street in Tehran torn apart. Where are we supposed to go? This woman says. We have nowhere.
Now, up to 3.2 million Iranians are displaced in the country.
In Lebanon too, the homeless in the hundreds of thousands. My heart is dead, this man says. I'm not like before. But the battle is only ramping up, the IDF releasing this footage of its ground invasion into southern Lebanon. An American refuelling aircraft crashing too, with at least 5 on board. A search for survivors underway. The US says it was not taken down by enemy fire, but the Islamic resistance in Iraq has claimed responsibility. After joint attacks from Hezbollah and Iran on central Israel, this is just some of the destruction. You can see from the extent of the damage how lucky it is that no one was injured or killed in this direct rocket hit from Hezbollah. An 86-year-old woman lives here and that is her bedroom. She had told her carer she was sick of going to the shelter, but her carer forced her, and it was that decision that saved her life.
We didn't even have enough time to get to the safe room, and I'm really happy my grandma slept in the safe room.
For the entire region, more sleepless nights ahead. In Israel, Mimi Becker, 9 News.
2 separate attacks in the United States are being investigated for links to the conflict in the Middle East. One was at a synagogue in Michigan where more than 100 children were attending preschool.
The closest of calls and a major police response after a gunman rammed his truck, reportedly packed with explosives, into one of America's largest synagogues in Detroit, Michigan.
It's absolutely incredible that things like this happen.
Inside, 140 students at the Israel Temple's childcare centre.
There are no words. I was in complete and utter shock.
But the children were saved by security guards who opened fire. One guard was hit by the vehicle and hurt, but all other staff and students were unharmed. Just 2 months ago, they underwent active shooter training from the FBI. The suspect, Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, a naturalised US citizen originally from Lebanon. Police had been preparing for this kind of attack in light of America and Israel's war in Iran.
Like Australia, security has been boosted at places of worship across the United States, from Michigan to here in Los Angeles. As we saw today, so often it's the guards that are the first line of defence
in these tense times. But it was military cadets who took down a gunman after a separate shooting at a university campus in Norfolk, Virginia today.
They basically were able to terminate the threat.
So he was not shot?
He was not shot.
A teacher was killed and 2 other US Army personnel were injured. The gunman, who had a former terror conviction, had shouted Allah Akbar before opening fire. In the United States, Reid Butler, 9 News.
He went to watch his son play soccer and never came home. The Queensland father's death now the subject of a coronial inquiry. Live to Ebony Cavallaro at the Coroner's Court. Ebony, how did this happen?
Well, Melissa, Andy Jones wasn't just watching his son's football game, he was also the volunteer ground official at the Mitchelton Football Club that afternoon. The coroner heard today that he was leaning against a fence when witnesses say there was a large gust of wind, and it was then that a temporary filming platform collapsed on the father of 4 and pinned him against the fence. Now, Mr Jones died of chest injuries as a result of that accident, and 5 years on, an inquest is now set to look at the guidelines surrounding the use of those structures and what actions could be taken to make sure this never happens again. Now, the inquest has been set down for a 3-day hearing in May. And Joel, the coroner also heard today that the scaffolding company involved has already been convicted and fined $400,000 as a result of this incident.
Ebony, thank you for that update. A childcare centre has been fined $15,000 over nap time safety breaches. A director of the company behind Maryborough's Little Gems Childcare and Early Learning pleading guilty in the Magistrates Court today. A coroner found the company was not responsible for the death of a 2-year-old boy found unresponsive at the centre in 2022, but charges were laid over safety breaches that included allowing the toddler to sleep in a bucket hat and a hooded jumper.
A One Nation candidate who ran in the 2024 state election has been convicted of electoral fraud. The Brisbane Magistrates Court heard Simon Saloom, who ran in the seat of Redcliffe, submitted doctored invoices to the Electoral Commission for campaign expenses of $6,500. The 57-year-old, who runs a fruit and vegetable business, was fined $3,000.
Elderly extras, the aged care giant charging residents thousands a year for scrambled eggs and free-to-air TV.
Home invasion horror, a man stabbed while defending his property.
A multi-million-dollar settlement over cancelled flights. Are you in line for a Qantas refund?
And after sport, the adorable addition to a popular southeast sanctuary.
A man has suffered a stab wound to the hand after disturbing an alleged intruder who broke into his home at Inala just before midnight. Body-worn vision capturing the moment police caught up with the 37-year-old alleged intruder in a nearby street. That man also suffering a wound to his arm.
A bit worried because a bit concerned because my family here. Even the police said this is a very bad street. I should not park my car there.
Both men were taken to hospital.
Hot meals off the menu and TVs taken out of bedrooms. Aged care giant Opal Healthcare is tonight being accused of a 2-tier system for vulnerable residents. The federal minister has expressed disgust, ordering the industry watchdog to investigate.
Opal Healthcare casts itself as the provider of premium care.
Wonderful, having them omelettes ready every night and every day.
But residents like Anne now face paying premium prices for those eggs and a hot brekkie.
You make me feel as though the trouble's nothing. I can't put a value high enough on it.
But Opal will, charging $28 a day under a new 2-tiered standard of care.
Look, we think it's disgusting. They're definitely creating a 2-class system.
Leaked documents revealing residents will be split between those who can afford a high level of care and those who can't.
They don't need to be considered cash cows so the providers can get rich.
From now on, if you want a cooked breakfast instead of cereal, they'll need to pay. Homemade cakes over Arnott's, you pay. Ice cream for dessert, pay again. Even free-to-air TV, no longer free. You pay for the TV set or it's removed from bedrooms.
Removing that just creates isolation of our elderly residents.
It's really important that people can watch and see what's going on.
The aged care giant runs around 130 homes, at least a dozen trialling the new two-tier menu. Opal Healthcare claims it's only implementing federal government policy. It insists that having a television in your bedroom or a hot breakfast are so-called lifestyle options.
Every reasonable person can see that having a telly and access to a telly is a basic human right.
Opal now under investigation.
The alleged behaviour reported today is absolutely disgusting. And that's why I've asked the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission to investigate immediately.
Conor McGovern, 9 News.
Qantas will pay out $105 million to settle COVID flight credits. Passengers launched a class action after being denied cash refunds for cancellations. Eligible travellers will now be able to claim compensation on top of any refunds.
City versus country. Tonight, could where you live help fight off dementia? A little later on, experts explain how simply crossing a road could be the key to a healthy brain.
Missile City, how Iran's underground network of arsenal bunkers could be their biggest blunder.
Millions of dollars worth of cash and cigarettes seized in a major crime crackdown.
Organisers pull the plug on one of Australia's most popular music festivals, leaving fans and bands high and dry.
And the discount giant named Australia's #1 retailer. More than 2 million cigarettes and $2 million is now in the hands of federal police. The discoveries made during a series of raids by the AFP at 60 tobacconists and homes across the state. Body-worn camera capturing the moment officers locate a safe containing the cash. 3 luxury cars were also seized, so too 20,000 vapes. More than 10 stores have been ordered to close as a result. Charges are yet to be laid.
Sad news for blues fans this evening. Byron Bay's Blues Fest has been cancelled and put into liquidation 3 weeks out. Organisers blaming poor ticket sales and rising production, insurance and touring costs. It follows a tumultuous 12 months for the festival. Last year's event was touted as the final Blues Fest until founder Pete Noble backflipped, saying the show would go on. But that is not to be. Ticket holders are unlikely to see any refunds.
Iran has spent decades building underground bunkers to house its large and varied missile arsenal. But their retaliatory strikes have slowed down considerably, and it appears their weapons strategy could be their biggest blunder. Alison Petrowski explains.
Welcome to Missile City, Iran's vast underground network of bunkers used to house and shield their arsenal from destruction. The bunkers took decades to build, but their construction appears to be a fatal mistake for the regime. US and Israeli warplanes and armed drones have been surveilling the entrances to these bases, striking missile launchers when they emerge to fire. And waves of bombers have dropped munitions on the site's entrances, in many cases trapping the arsenal below ground, entombing them, making them inaccessible. And this tactic appears to be working. These satellite images show the Tabriz missile site in Iran's northwest, where the entrance tunnels appear to have collapsed after being struck repeatedly. And the US Central Command says there has been a dramatic reduction in return fire from Iran since the initial days of war.
North Korea's leader is showing off his firepower, with state media releasing images of Kim Jong-un shooting a gun with his 13-year-old daughter. Kim visiting a factory that claims to be manufacturing a new type of pistol that the leader said was excellent. The images have only added to speculation that Kim Joo-a is being groomed for future leadership.
Kmart has been named Australia's #1 retailer this year, bumping Big W off the top spot. Industry analysts Power Retail praised the chain store for its strong returns policy. Myer and Bunnings came in second and third.
A Big Four bank jumps the gun as economists predict another rate rise. Next, Chris Kohler's finance reports.
MAFS expert Mel Schilling shares a heartbreaking health update.
From pulling pints to brewing beer, the future Queen spends the day stirring the pots.
Plus, experts explain how simply crossing the road could help your brain fight off dementia.
Banks have been scrambling to raise mortgage rates ahead of Tuesday's Reserve Bank meeting. And for borrowers, that means a crucial window may be closing. Chris Kohler has tonight's finance report.
Economists and the market are now mostly tipping another rate rise next week from the RBA. So naturally, borrowers are wondering if they should fix their home loan rate or get ahead of it. The problem is, banks are quick on this stuff. The gap between the average 2-year fixed rate and the average variable rate has already widened because 26 banks have hiked their fixed rates in just the last fortnight. It's still happening. ANZ, in fact, did it today. As it stands, CanStar research shows these are the lowest 2-year fixed rates. Not a big bank in sight. Elsewhere, it's been a wild week on the share market, but in the end, it finished pretty much even. Banks were higher today and BHP fell once again. Finally, the Australian dollar remains strong as we head into the weekend, but it was slightly lower this afternoon.
Checking fuel prices, the average price for unleaded petrol in Brisbane is $2.20. Diesel is $2.54. The average for unleaded on the Gold Coast is also $2.20.
Tourists and locals have been stunned by a surprise royal visit at some of London's busiest attractions. The Prince and Princess of Wales spent the day mixing with the public, pouring beers and making coffees.
A brew fit for a king and queen.
So a big scoosh to start and then more gently down the side.
Or a prince and princess who aren't afraid to lend a hand.
Wow, look at that.
And learn the craft of local artisans.
We'll carry on talking down here while you keep going. Don't worry, I'll do super hard.
But Catherine made it look easy.
No, and actually since my diagnosis in drinking alcohol, it's not really something I do. No, it's not. You like your cider?
I'm a cider. The hands that bear the priceless sapphire and diamond ring once worn by Princess Diana were today learning the skills of a trained barista.
I made your coffee.
Then it was time for a little something sweet at Borough Market. And finally, down the River Thames in life jackets with the Royal National Lifeboat Cruise, supporting a local charity that keeps British waterways safe.
A good marker of their success this year might not be any one grand gesture, but simply turning up time and again supporting local causes like this one.
There was one protester in the crowd.
William, have you been covering for Andrew?
Others were chuffed.
I love Carting Wheels. I think they're doing a fantastic job and they're going to be a great king and queen.
We see a lot of news about the Epstein files, obviously, and about Andrew. But I think, I think they've done their best.
We all love the royal family here.
In London, Josh Bavis, 9 News.
She's been battling cancer for almost 3 years, and today Mel Schilling revealed the disease is now terminal. The much-loved expert from Married at First Sight overcame bowel cancer in 2023, but it returned a few months later, spreading to her brain. In an emotional Instagram post, the 54-year-old says, "My light is starting to fade, and quickly, but I'm still here, still fighting, and surrounded by the most incredible love."
Ahead in sport, the Queensland NRL club's going head-to-head to play in Las Vegas next year. An update on Adam Reynolds' injury as the Broncos' premiership defence slumps to an embarrassing low.
At the end of sport, meet the new furry face at a popular southeast sanctuary.
And still some light showers here on the Gold Coast this evening. They have fortunately cleared for most of the city. There's still some very heavy falls west of the Sunshine Coast. I'll show you the radar and let you know what we're in store for this weekend. The full weather app coming up shortly.
Good evening. As their premiership defence descends into disaster, the Broncos have avoided being dealt another blow. Scans clearing captain Adam Reynolds of broken ribs, but the coach has hinted that team changes could be on the way. The agony of back-to-back defeats amplified for Adam Reynolds. Scans cleared him of broken ribs today, but the skipper is at long odds to line up in next week's grand final rematch with the Storm.
A little bit sore, but you play through bumps and bruises throughout the season, and this will be no different.
Furious fans stormed out of Suncorp Stadium well before full time. Brisbane's premiership hangover worsening, the most points ever conceded by a reigning premier after 2 rounds.
Plain and simple, it's not good enough. It really isn't. To be up by that margin at home, coming off a loss at home last week, Yeah, pretty bloody ordinary.
It was pretty disappointing, especially for myself, defensively, but yeah, I just don't know what to say from that.
The Broncos showed glimpses of brilliance against the Eels, leading by as many as 14 points. Still not enough to mask some diabolical defence. Brisbane's left side almost non-existent in the 40-32 defeat. Michael Maguire hinting at swinging the selection axe.
I'll be having a look at each player within the squad. One thing I do know about the team is they can do it. Got the same talent. It's just a matter of being able to be prepared to work hard enough.
Jonah Pezzett sparking hope for the future. The half who'll join the Broncos next season, instrumental in Parramatta's win at his soon-to-be home ground.
Yeah, it was loud and hostile, and yeah, but a lot of respect. I'm focused on Parra this year, and mate, the more 2 points we can get, the further we can go. It's going to be good for everyone.
A drought-breaking Queensland derby win is not the only showdown brewing between the Dolphins and the Titans, with both clubs putting their cards on the table to be included in the NRL's Las Vegas season opener next year.
Vying to get their hands on the Queensland Derby trophy this weekend, the Dolphins and Titans could also be travelling together to Las Vegas next year.
We're keen to go, and we're just working through the process with the NRL and, like you, waiting to be told who's going.
We don't have a preference in regard to who we play. We want to go. We think there's a lot of synergies between the Gold Coast and Las Vegas.
The Dolphins, Gold Coast, Melbourne, Parramatta and West Tigers are the only clubs yet to play in the US, but just 4 can go in 2027.
We're keen to go, and hopefully, if they're picking one over the other, I hope it's the Dolphins.
After undertaking fact-finding trips to Vegas, the Finns and Titans CEOs have conditions before they commit.
We need to take an away game away because we bring a home game up to Magic Round.
We have to be an away side, same with Steve. So the first thing is about which 2 teams are going to have the home games. Now, I know Parramatta, I think, is got a home game.
A drought-breaking win at Suncorp Stadium on Sunday, the target for now, with a Queensland club yet to win a game this season.
I think that's been mine and our biggest job this week, and to ensure that off the back of a poor performance, some old demons don't resurface.
A 40-point pummelling in his NRL coaching debut, raising queries over the Titans' decision to recruit Josh Hannay.
His way that he's talked to the player group throughout the week, and the way that they've responded in regard to considering what's coming this week and the way they need to show up's been really good.
Matthew Simpakis, 9 News.
Tonight, the NRL's all-time try-scoring record could be broken in the Rabbitohs clash with the Roosters. Billy Slater will be commentating the game for 9. Billy, you're third on the all-time try-scorers list, so you know how monumental this will be. Do you think Rabbitohs winger Alex Johnston breaks the record there tonight?
Well, if the atmosphere here at Allianz Stadium, Jacko, is anything to go by, I think he just might. I think everyone here in the stadium is expecting Alex Johnston to break the all-time try-scoring record of Ken Irvine's 212 tries, which will be incredible. And he's on the side of the field to do it. The left-hand side of the field for South Sydney is so dynamic. You've got Dave Fafita, Latrell Mitchell, and the man who holds the key is Cody Walker. He'll be distributing the ball out there. So we might see history here tonight. The Roosters, the arch rivals, it's the biggest rivalry in the NRL. It's been going for such a long period of time. I'm sure they'll have their say and they'll want to get their first win of the season. So it's going to be a great battle here at Allianz Stadium. I hope he gets it tonight.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for that, Billy. A must-watch match there tonight. Early kick-off too, 7 o'clock here on 9. AFL now, and Chris Fagan has leapt to the defence of his under-siege Lions, denying Brisbane has a discipline issue despite heading into tomorrow night's clash against the Swans, missing 3 players due to suspension.
It's not a common problem we've had. I mean, if over the course of the last few years we had a lot of MROs, I think it's fair to ask that question, but given that we haven't, it's probably a little premature to say we've got a discipline issue.
Despite only booting 1 goal in the second half of their clash with Richmond, Carlton held on for a 4-point win over the Tigers at the MCG, much to the relief of their under-fire Blues coach, Michael Voss. Adam Scott had no fear taking on the treacherous Island Green at Sawgrass during the opening round of the Players' Championship. The Queensland almost holing out. He's 2 shots behind Jason Day, who's our best-placed Aussie. Hannah Green, meanwhile, looks poised to make a weekend charge at the Women's Australian Open, sitting in a tie for second at the halfway mark, rocketing up the leaderboard today with a 4 under par back nine. The tour travels to Queensland next week for the inaugural WPGA Championship on the Gold Coast. And an unsung hero of Queensland sport has been caught off guard with a tear in his eye by the surprise announcement of his induction into Racing Queensland's Hall of Fame. 80-year-old Basil Nolan has been involved in the industry ever since working on his parents' stud in the Darling Downs in 1963.
I would just like to thank everybody, including my wife, who unfortunately is not here tonight, for everything.
Basil will be officially inducted into the Hall of Fame in August. Melissa Joel, what an absolute legend. Still working at the age of 80, helping him out.
Absolutely incredible. Thanks, AJ. Move over koalas. There's a new cuddly creature in town. Meet Quincy, Brisbane's only quokka, now calling Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary home. The one-year-old made his big debut today, giving visitors a rare chance to meet the happiest animal in the world.
Now we can let the quokka out of the bag, so we're all really excited. He came to us from Sydney Zoo.
And we're working towards getting Quincy a mate.
If you're hoping to snap a selfie with Quincy inside his enclosure, you'll have to wait a little longer until he settles in.
Fighting off dementia, tonight how simply crossing a road could help shield the brain from the debilitating condition. Just ahead, the new Australian study.
But first, Luke is back with a check on the weather. Luke, are we expecting more rain this weekend?
Jolie, the good news is we certainly are not going to see any heavy falls over the weekend, just some light showers, mostly along the coastal fringe. The outlook is not too bad. I'll show you that, let you know exactly what warnings we still have in place this evening. The full weather app coming up next.
Diet and exercise aren't the only ways to protect your brain. A new study suggesting where we live also makes a difference. Brain imaging data from hundreds of Australian residents over the age of 70 shows living in highly connected neighbourhoods can deliver a boost.
Keeping our heart healthy is known to be good for the brain, but our environment can also play a role.
We know that the neighbourhood can affect brain health where you live, and there are many aspects of the neighbourhood that are important.
To understand how postcodes can affect brain health, researchers looked at the neighbourhoods of 500 residents over the age of 70 in Sydney's east. The more street intersections within a kilometre of their home, the better connectivity that can challenge the brain.
You want a neighbourhood that is well connected, has both residential and commercial areas, so people can walk for shopping, for example.
Researchers from the Australian Catholic University and UNSW measured their brain scans and found those living in highly connected areas had larger hippocampus tails, the area vulnerable to shrinking in Alzheimer's disease. The inference being crossing intersections and using complex navigational skills, a brain booster.
Many years ago, it was shown actually that London taxi drivers had larger hippocampi.
The research highlights the importance of better urban planning to support brain health, but our growing reliance on technology for directions and for solving complex problems has experts concerned about the impacts on our brains.
AI abilities is much faster, so that is a big concern for the future. We probably have to start thinking about strategies to deal with that challenge.
Gabriella Rogers, 9 News.
It is time now for your full weather forecast. Luke, what warnings remain in place this evening?
Joel, we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning in place for southeast Queensland, but it really is Waibate Burnett area that's seeing the heaviest of the falls at the moment. For the most part, those showers have cleared for most of southeast Queensland. Could still see some over the weekend though, and a strong wind warning in play tomorrow from Townsville right the way through to Coolangatta. I want to show you these shots from the Gold Coast Seaway today. You can see just how big that swell is. Not worth getting offshore at the moment. The coastal bar's just far too dangerous to cross. this jet skier coming a cropper this afternoon, especially on the low tide. It's really jacking up that swell. Have a look at today's flyover temps from around southeast Queensland. Actually wasn't a bad morning. We saw the sunshine poke out, and we had temps up in the mid-30s in the western suburbs, getting up to around 31 degrees in the city, and temps for the most part around 30 degrees today along the coast. Tomorrow's weather map shows more showers and storms for the tropical north, courtesy of a monsoon, and onshore winds will again push showers in along parts of the Queensland coastline. If you're heading interstate this weekend, a cloudy one on the way for Sydney. Fine though for Canberra, Hobart and Melbourne. Sunshine for Adelaide, partly cloudy for Perth, and for you in Darwin, up to 40 millimetres in the gauge tomorrow. Back into Queensland, showers for Cairns and areas further north. Just a late light shower for Townsville and Mackay. Cloudy and a high chance of showers through the Capricornia coast, and then through the Fraser coast we could see falls again around 15 millimetres for most areas. Through the western we'll see a shower or two for the Isa, but not much chance of rain fortunately for Longreach through to Roma. Here in the southeast should wake to partly cloudy conditions in the morning, and then a medium chance of showers, particularly along the Bayside suburbs. Not much chance of any shower activity tomorrow afternoon in the west. We will see those strong winds though. Out on the bay, not a great day. We'll see seas getting up to 2 metres, offshore seas getting up to 2.5 metres. Very dangerous out there at the moment. For the city, shooting for a top of 27 for our Saturday, and overnight dropping down to 21. A partly cloudy day on the way tomorrow, and then looking ahead, not bad for our Sunday either. Partly cloudy 27, a light shower possible on Monday, partly cloudy for 29 for Tuesday, and same for Wednesday. And for Ipswich, a nice weekend on the way, partly cloudy and 29 both Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny and 30 for Tuesday. Here on the Gold Coast, a shower or two both Saturday and Sunday, only very light though, and it's pretty similar for you up on the sunny coast as well. Let's have a look at the beaches. Well, a complete write-off on the open beaches today, but have a look from the drone of how it was down on the points. Absolutely firing. The swell up around that 1.5 metre mark with a ton of power behind it. Obviously, only for experienced board riders out there today, and that'll be the case over the weekend as well. Tomorrow, we're in for almost a repeat performance. It'll be a washing machine along those open beaches. You'll need to hit the points if you're chasing a wave. But for most, surfing will be a spectator sport tomorrow. Expect to do a ton of paddling, a massive sweep to the north. Dangerous beach conditions today. I expect we might see some beach closures, particularly down here on the Gold Coast again tomorrow. Stick between those protected flags if the beaches are open, and the water temp's beautiful around 25 degrees. We won't be getting offshore this weekend, but when the winds finally drop, Keely Rose charters out of Rainbow Beach, absolutely braining them earlier in the week. Great stuff. And guys, a decision on whether the beaches will be closed again here on the Gold Coast, those northern beaches, will be made around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Sounds good, Luke. Thank you. And that is 9 News Queensland for this evening. Thank you for your company.
From all of us, have a great weekend. Good night.
Good night.